Hi everyone, thanks again for joining me for another sneak peek into the Self-Storage Summit that's coming up. In today's episode, I have Bob Copper joining me on the ins and outs of a feasibility study. This is a great topic we go really in depth on, and so this is just a little few minutes of a little intro about him, how he got into the business, and all about his feasibility study services. So let's just jump right into it here. Again, if you have not registered yet, it's coming up. Deadline's coming up here for it's going to be launching November 19th to the 21st. So go to the selfstoragesummit.com, get registered, and I'll see you soon.
And welcome to the Self Storage Show.
Hey everyone, this is Jim Ross from the Self Storage Summit. Today is going to be, I'm excited for this one. Hey, I got Bob Copper with me. Been around forever. I'll let you introduce yourself in a second, but we're going to be jumping into the importance, kind of ins and outs of feasibility studies. So, hey Bob, thanks so much for joining me.
I'm happy to be here, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and this kind of a neat concept you have here. I think it's going to be well received in the industry. So good for you for putting all this together.
I hope so. It's one of those things I don't mind trying something to start off with, and if I look like a fool, oh well. But hey, we tried. But I think it's coming along. So
right.
I'm excited for you to be
here. At least you're trying. That's more than a lot of people. So at least you're trying. So good for you. Good for you.
Well, to kind of start off with, I mean, again, kind of a pioneer in this industry, been around for a long time. Kind of give us a quick little bio on yourself before we jump into feasibility.
Sure. Yeah. Fortunately, it's not that particularly interesting or difficult to relay. It's pretty boring. Started off years ago working for Public Storage, run a bunch of properties for them in the Southeast. And then went to work for Metro Storage down in Florida, running 60 or 80 of their properties. And living in Florida, doing, having the time of our lives, living near the Gulf Coast. And then my wife, who was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, when grandson number 1 was on the way, said, if we ever get back to Birmingham, that'd be great. And so here he just turned 16, so that gives you an idea how long we've been in Birmingham. But went out of business for myself at that point. When I was with Metro, we used to have a lot of people. Metro was a full-service management company. We did development. We did, of course, owned our own facilities. And I always had people call me and saying, hey, do you guys have any resources like an operations manual or anything like that we can get from you? And of course, we had our own proprietary information, but like any big company, we're not going to just give that to the general public or anything. So I quickly realized with 40, 50,000 facilities in the United States, most of whom are not big facilities, and most of them who are independents, that there's probably a good market there for those types of materials. So I kind of started that, doing the online training and the manuals and that stuff, and it kind of morphed into where we are today, which is a full service, a large full service feasibility and consulting business. We do hundreds and hundreds of market feasibility studies every year. We do hundreds of acquisition audits every year, and still do a lot of the training and helping people, get their facilities up and running and do some of that stuff. But primarily, what keeps us the busiest right now are the market feasibility studies. That's still a big part of our business, and still doing, like I said, anywhere from 40 to 50 to 60 of those every month. So still cranking those out and keep moving them along. Yeah.
A month? Holy, okay.
Yeah, we do about 700 a year.
Okay, are we talking market studies or feasibilities? Because there's a couple little differences there.
Well, we're talking about between our market and feasibility studies. We're a little bit unique. There's other people obviously that do what we do, and some of them are very good at what they do, and we've seen their work, they've seen ours, and some of them do a very good job. One of the things we do a little different, though, we split ours into 2 different types of products. We do what we call a desktop market study, which is an initial look at a site and the market and all that. And then if that looks positive and somebody needs an actual feasibility study, which is all that information combined with the detailed financial analysis, then we can upgrade them to that level. We do that for 2 reasons. One, if a project doesn't make sense, we would rather tell somebody at that first initial level than wait till they've spent the time and investment in a big feasibility study that's going to be negative anyway. So we do it that way. They usually do it in 2 pieces. In some cases, people don't need the full feasibility study. If it's of their own internal purposes, we've got clients we've done 100 of those studies for. It's for their own internal review. It's not for banking, and so they don't need that full study. So, but between those 2 types of studies, we do about 700 a year combined between those 2. And then that does not include, we also do quite a bit of due diligence, acquisition audits. We've probably done 80 or 100 of those this year so far.
Yeah, especially with this kind of climate right now, it's crazy how it's just
It is. And we've definitely seen the acquisition piece pick up in the last couple of years because a lot of our clients who are big institutional clients, it's getting harder to make new development work. And so to keep growing, they've got to then turn their resources towards acquisition. So we do a lot of that. We're still doing just as many market feasibility studies as we've ever done. The difference, though, in the last, again, year or two is that more and more of them are negative. More and more don't make sense for a variety of reasons. And that's why it makes so much sense, I think, to start off with that initial look, because chances are it's a better than 50-50 chance that first study is going to be negative. Because that's kind of, there are some days I send 10 of those out and 9 of them are negative. And so that's why it's important, because if you're using any kind of bank or anything, they're going to insist on it, or at least they should.
Sure.
But even for your own internal, I've had people, they're contemplating a $2 or $3 million project, and they balk at spending a couple $1,000 on a study to make sure they should build it in the first place. And, while self-storage is a great business, it's like any business. If it's the wrong spot in the wrong market and the wrong decision, it can be expensive. We've all seen those cases where sites that were built that should have never been built. And so thankfully, and fortunately, it's not like it was in 07, 08 when you could borrow the money on the back of a napkin to build one of these things until the market crashed. There is some discipline. There is, particularly banks now and other funds, the big management companies. A lot of our resources come from, referrals come from the big management companies. So somebody calls them and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about a property," and the first thing they say is, "You need to get a market study done, because we're not going to take the big companies don't want to take on that liability of telling somebody to build." And so because nobody has any interest, banks, management companies, nobody should have any interest in properties being built that should not be built. And so there is more discipline, at least, than there was. There's no doubt facilities are still being built today that probably shouldn't be built, or certainly are a bad decision. Yep. I've always said sometimes stupid money can build a self-storage property, and it still can. If you aren't, I've had people call me all the time. They've done all this research, and you ask a few questions. It's obvious they really didn't ask the right questions, and they're getting ready for a disaster. So you kind of have to poke through some of that to make sure. Again, we also do a lot of them because we've built and developed our own. We know what that means. We're not just, this is a theory for us. We've built our own, sold our own, managed our own. We've borrowed the money. We've gone all through the headaches, gone through the zoning, and I know what somebody's getting ready to go through. And so if it's a project that we wouldn't invest in or put money in, I wouldn't ask them to do either, because it's just, self-storage is a highly capital-intensive business. It's going to take a lot of money. And so, we want to try to keep people from, we feel our big responsibility to keep people from making those mistakes. And so we do say no, and like I said, some days we say no to every one of them. So we say no a lot, which is one reason we get so many referrals, because banks know we will tell somebody no if it's a no. So there are other people out in our business who have never told anybody no, and I think that's probably not very responsible.
Thanks for supporting the show. I want to let you know that we've just opened up our brand new free private Facebook group. There I'll be having some extra special content not found anywhere else. If you really want your facility to be a success in today's market, then this is going to be the place for you. You can request to join us at selfstoragecommunity.com or search for Self Storage Domination Community on Facebook.